welcome to Radioactive. Join us as we look at technology and life in the world around us, and have a little fun with it too. I'm Pat Morrow, and
this is Jon Brown.
I'm Flora Morrow.
And
I'm Dale Miracle, and this is Radioactive.
I hope to hell this all works. Anybody there?
I'm here. How you doing?
Oh, not too bad.
Hello?
Is it working?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yep, looks like it's all working.
All right. Well, why did you say it like that? Why were you so concerned?
Well, as always.
I wonder why this could be.
Oh,
As always,
John.
we got to fire this damn board operator. He ain't worth a crap. Of course,
Man, you
then
must
again,
have like a long-term contract with this guy or something, man.
yeah, shit happens.
So, what were the problems tonight?
Well, I did some little tweaking in that over the course of the last 2 or 3 days, and we now have the Zoom Zoom actually works with the phone line. I got that taken care of last night. And I was just afraid that I had something else screwed up. And when I went to set everything up, the one version of vMix that I use was the one setting on it was screwed up and wouldn't let me into Facebook. That's what took so long to get here. But we're here now. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Crooked River Radio Network, and welcome to Radioactive.
It looks like, hey, the gang's all here tonight, huh?
Yeah, it looks that way. We got
So who's here?
we've got you, Jon Brown. We have Dale Miracle, who just waved at me. You had a wink when you waved, Dale. And we have Mr. Erik Nanarone. Good evening, Erik. Hello, Erik.
How's everyone?
There he is.
There you are.
You're coming in now.
Yeah, it's working.
Yeah, my audio wasn't working for some odd reason. So, I'm doing good. How's everybody?
Not doing too shabby for an old man, I guess. For a young guy like you, well, that'd be a different story.
And yes, we have the awake Flora Morrow this evening.
Yes, we do. We have Flora, and she's awake.
I want to give a disclaimer. However, if y'all see me drifting off, you see no wine glasses sitting up here. Now, do you? If I'm drifting off, it's because I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning. So, I do have an excuse. So, anyway.
That sounds like a personal problem.
Yeah,
That's your excuse, and you're sticking to it, huh?
Yeah, when you got a 13-year-old that's still up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then you go out to find out what the noise was, and oh my goodness, everybody's asleep. All the lights are still on, but everybody's asleep. And I'm like, now I know I heard something, and somebody was pretending to be asleep then. So.
Oh, yeah.
This sounds like a personal problem.
Yeah, well, it is. Okay, yeah.
Erik,
Sorry, I got a screamer in the background.
Yeah.
Erik, are you working and everything here? Erik.
Yeah.
Okay, you're working and everything. I saw your text message here. That's cool.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, Beth was going to join us this evening, but I don't think she's going to make it. She is kind of under the weather. She had some surgery Friday that wasn't supposed to be that bad, and I think it hit her pretty hard. So, best wishes go to her, and get well soon, Beth. We're missing you. And I have quite a few topics I want to cover tonight, and I'm trying to decide which one I want to kick off with first. I think we probably should take the elephant in the room one. What do you guys think?
Why do you always got to start with that one? No.
I don't even know the topics because nobody tells me anything.
Well, that's all right. I don't.
Well, if you'd read Facebook once in a while, you'd probably see it.
Now I don't think you posted anything in there today about this.
Oh, yes, I did.
Oh, you did.
4 o'clock this afternoon.
I don't have time to be on the computer.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, you guys.
Yeah.
Well, Pat never said anything about my picture I had tagged him in, I think, 2 weeks ago now?
What picture was that?
Oh, I tagged you in it. Erik replied to it. A couple other people liked it.
Was that the thing about the Browns? I never did get to you back about that.
Yeah, of course that was it. I never take an opportunity to support the hometown.
Oh, it's okay when Pat does it, but when Jon Brown...
Yeah, John, yeah. Just like I told Mr. Miracle today, you're one of a kind. You can't be replaced.
Oh.
For some reason, I keep getting text messages every Sunday. You coming?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I know. One of these days we need to get those promos on that done, too.
Well,
Hey,
that'll happen.
Hey, John, did you see
I
that?
know. You gotta remember, my wife's a nurse manager, so she's freaking out about all this.
You know what,
Virus crap.
John? I just told him that today. I said, you got to remember something. I said, John's wife is a nurse. You are not going to see him for a long time.
Trust me, I'd rather come over there and enjoy your Miracle Whip. You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Food
yeah.
and everything. I seem to get there and Flora feeds me every time, but unfortunately I'm stuck here in my Zoom hell little office here. I can't stand this being cooped up. I'm even cooped up for work, you know.
Well,
Yeah, oh yeah.
One of the topics I wanted to cover tonight is just about exactly that. I posted the question, when the virus thing, when the state is allowed to reopen, like the 21st, they're going to let everybody into restaurants. Are you going to go?
Is it a restaurant or is it a restaurant?
Restaurants.
John.
Well, I will be
Tomatoes, for Christ's sake.
It's a restaurant. I will think a restaurant is somewhere you go to the bathroom at.
That's a restroom.
Not a restaurant.
Yeah, I see you. I see you, Erik Nanarone, smiling at me like that.
Well, it depends what
You got to
restaurant.
remember your camera's on.
Whatever. So are we going to go when we're allowed to go out or not?
I'm going.
Well,
I am.
We probably will at least go to the funny stop. That's for sure.
That'd be cool.
That's going to be a given. So
Yeah, I think so.
the comedian that they're having there first may not be my favorite
Yeah,
one
well.
off the bat, but he's been kind to Pete to come out and
Last time I
perform.
was there
So
with that dude, he called me Mr. Rogers.
yeah, I forgot about that.
All I needed was a sweater. I had to wear a sweater this time.
Yeah, you should. And Pete's going to set you right in the front row.
Damn
too.
right he will.
And what shoes did he wear?
Huh?
They're like what shoes was that he would wear?
Oh, wasn't it like the penny loafers
penny
or something?
loafers.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
should wear a sweater and some penny loafers.
He actually has those too. So
Yep, I do.
he does have.
The one thing I learned, if I ever go to a comedy show again, do not pick a front row seat.
Oh, that's where the most fun is, Erik.
There's so many things.
Oh,
That's where it's the most fun.
that's when
because they
Pete
get to pick on you.
when Pete really likes you, you get put in the front row.
Yeah, what do you think about up here? What do you
Do they
think?
have good food there?
Oh,
it's yeah,
decent. They got
good.
pierogies,
Yeah.
fried pierogies that
It's
are really
pretty
good.
It's pretty good.
Is it like a full menu, or do you just get what they got?
It's
that
bar
night?
food.
It's it's a limited menu, but it's still it's still pretty good.
It's more bar food than it is anything.
I've always wanted to go check that place out.
Oh,
I've
it's
never been there.
it's a good time. It really is.
Yeah, we'll have to go when it opens.
When we can have more and just, when you don't have to worry about the social distancing, go all together and stuff, because didn't we, I was trying to remember, didn't Dale Miracle go with us one time over there too?
Did you go with us, Dale?
I was trying to remember who all
went. I thought you did too.
No.
No, you didn't go? Okay. Must have been somebody else then. I was having some flashbacks there. Man. Oh, well. Wrong flashback, I guess. Anyway.
Drink more wine.
Yeah. And if Marty Kopfer happens to be out there this evening, I don't want to hear it, buddy. I just don't want to hear it. Got it? Nothing about me taking another sip. I am not falling asleep. No.
No, she's getting hammered.
No, I'm not. I have to work tomorrow. And I'm actually...
You can't get hammered.
Yeah, well, yeah, but if I do, we know then I don't start work for a half hour.
There's quick remedies for that. So
yeah, what's that?
Gatorade, tons of it, like unhealthy amounts. Water.
This sounds like a man that's talking from experience.
Oh yeah, I have more experience on that front. My last trip to Canada was a disaster.
Oh.
Let's just say. I did some stupid things that I will never do again. And I regret highly.
Oh, my. Well, I just figure I've got to start at 7 tomorrow, and my boss is letting me starting this week that I'm able to do 7 to 4:30, 4 days a week, and then on Wednesday I'm only going to do 7 to 10:45, so that I can hopefully help the 7-year-old get some homework done that she's been missing lately. So, excuse me. So hopefully that'll give me a little extra time on Wednesdays to get that squared away. But
see, Eric, you have to take in consideration that Canada doesn't have weak alcohol, and they start at like 16 or 18, so they don't have like the 3%.
It wasn't alcohol, Dale.
It was like 3.5% beer. They've got like 7 to 12% beers, not counting their Windsor and other vodkas.
What were you?
It was a shot of tequila, but it was more than alcohol.
Ruh-roh, Raggy.
Wow, we're learning a lot about you tonight, Eric.
Scooby snacks.
All right, let's take and since it's 20 after, and I got 3 or 4 clips I want to play. I got 2 clips I'm going to play in a row here. Getting back to the discussion of would you go out to different businesses and that once they open, different restaurants for some people, and when they open again, and what it's going to be like for the actual churches to reopen again. I've got some first-hand experience with with the church thing, and I wanted to bring that up and talk about it a little bit tonight. So I'm going to run these 2 bits. It's going to probably be, looks like about 8 minutes. So hang in there. We'll be back on the other side of this. And you're listening to Radioactive on the Crooked River Radio Network.
Got our grasp. All right, Ben. Well, we're still under a stay-at-home order across the border in Ohio. They are getting back to business.
They are. So we wanted to see what life is like for them on day one. Kim DiGiulio is live just across the border in Sylvania tonight. Kim, you'd have to think salons are pretty busy. What have you seen?
Yeah, well, obviously there is a high demand to book appointments at salons, but based on what we saw here in Sylvania, they're still being extra cautious. For example, only letting one client into the salons at a time, other clients waiting in their cars in the parking lot, and that caution is a theme we saw with a lot of businesses that reopened today. Here at the Earth to Oven Bakery and Cafe, customers are excited to be back dining at a restaurant.
Very.
And why?
it's just nice to be able to get something to eat and, can be distanced and still enjoy each other's company.
The owner says revenue has been down about 50%.
And so hopefully now we can supplement it with the outdoor eating and then next week the indoor dining.
Indoor eating will also look different.
They're doing some very creative stuff inside. Yeah. Did you notice the booth?
I was just starting to look. Yeah.
The owner's doing that herself. She comes late at night and builds that.
We're building new booths that are 6 foot high.
And there's excitement right next door at Sheer Madness Salon.
Yes. People are desperate,
Where appointments are completely booked.
Oh my gosh. All day. I'm here till like 8:30 tonight. I got here at 9 this morning, and then the whole next 2 weeks are like that.
Making time for her previous clients and even gaining some new ones.
From Michigan. I had a lady from Livonia call. She's driving all the way to here because she's afraid that Michigan's not going to open for a while.
And for all of her customers,
everything's different. So where we used to be able to put like 2 and 3 clients together, now they have to be one at a time. And then we all have a mask. If they don't have one, then I provide them one. And then after we're done with the service, then I clean all the area up, and then I wave the next person in.
Also in this little strip mall here, a bar behind me has opened for outdoor service. You can see a few people here enjoying a beverage at a distance. Now, with Michigan's stay-at-home order going until the end of the month, all eyes will be on Ohio to see how their reopening process goes. In Sylvania, I'm Kim DiGiulio, Local 4.
We will be looking. Okay.
As President Trump and governors across the nation prepare to reopen the economy, they're also looking at ways to safely reopen churches. When America's Stefan Kleinhans caught up with a pastor serving on the National Coronavirus Recovery Commission and the President's Faith Task Force to help reopen places of worship.
All right, I'm joined now by Pastor Sam Rodriguez, who's serving on the National Coronavirus Recovery Commission with the Heritage Foundation, as well as the President's Task Force. Pastor Sam, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with your work with the Heritage Foundation. You guys are looking to save lives and livelihoods, but you're specifically working in the civil society realm of that. Tell me about some of the work there.
We don't want churches to be the centers of outbreaks. So we want churches to phase in a very cautious, practical and pragmatic way, but we are likewise concerned regarding religious liberty intrusions by governors in different parts of the country. So we have to protect our civil liberties while simultaneously re-emerging as faith communities across America.
So that brings me to my next point, where during this pandemic, we saw a lot of people trying to react quickly because this is such an unprecedented, uncharted territory.
Of course.
A lot of people were saying that the government oversteps its authority in closing churches and telling churches they can't gather. What are your thoughts on that? And looking back, knowing what we know now, how could they have done it better?
I would agree. And William Barr agrees. The president agrees that there are segments or sectors of the country, governors of a certain persuasion as it pertains to communities of faith, in my opinion, and we saw some punitive actions take place that violate our constitutional rights. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't sacrifice our constitutional rights on the altar of a pandemic or on the altar of a crisis. We can't sacrifice truth on the altar of political expediency or even a crisis. So we understand as American citizens, we have responsibilities collectively. But the idea that you can shut down a church crossed the line. Now, I was advocating for pastors to voluntarily go online. And right now, I am exhorting and encouraging pastors to phase in maybe 25% of building capacity for the first 2 weeks, 50% second month, 75% third month. By the fourth month, 100% capacity. All things being equal, with all CDC recommendations fully in place, social distancing in the first 2-3 phases.
Going forward, how do you hope to advise the relationship between churches and government to make sure something like this doesn't happen again?
We really have to build a legal firewall, and we have to put, legally speaking, now let me use colloquialisms or metaphors, we have to put the fear of God in governors who attempt to cross the line and shut down churches in perpetuity. That's outrageous. Let me give you one more example. President Trump, in his 3 phases, included churches in phase 1. The governor of California, God bless him, included churches in phase 3. So churches, hypothetically, can't come back online, meaning physical gatherings, until sporting events and big concerts. I argue that the spiritual health of a nation is equally and as essentially important as the mental and economic health.
Pastor Sam Rodriguez working hard with the Heritage Foundation and the President's Task Force to reopen churches in America. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News.
All right, this has got me kind of in a tizzy here, I guess, for use of a different word. I usually say the last month or so now I've been sitting. IHM, which is my church, does live streaming here. The pastor a lot of times will take and make comments to the congregation. His sermon today was saying that his sermon said that they're coming up with so many rules that it's difficult for the church to actually open back up. And I understand that. You know, the stuff that he went through describing was you have to take and block off 3 pews because the pews are 2 feet across, roughly. You have to block 3 pews off, and then you can use the next one, block off 3 more. That's going to cut your seating capacity down to from about 875 to about a little over 200, which is, you know, I can understand during a pandemic and all that crap. But, you know, we're just throwing in all these rules, and we have no idea even if this crap is even going to work or not. That's pretty much the way I'm looking at this stuff. You don't know for 100% sure even if the social distancing is working. Hell, I heard reports here a couple of weeks ago that the virus could spread 12 feet instead of 6. So you're still, you're sitting here telling 6 feet apart, people, 6 feet apart. And on top of that, you don't even know if it works. What do you guys think?
I saw this study that said that it should be like 27 feet.
I'm interested to see what you think, Dale.
Well, about this whole thing, I honestly think that the whole thing was blown out of proportion in 2 degrees, where I'm not going to get into the semantics of it, of people saying it's just a flu virus. It's more than a flu virus. It's a viral infection. We'll just put it that way. It's a viral infection that infects people. Now, you have to take some common sense here, and we all know about common sense was dead and buried 40, 50 years ago, at least. And pretty much, you have to, it's like a multi-stage thing. It's like the masks. Okay. We all know that masks can block things, but we're talking about microscopic airborne particles. And the CDC had already said that a 100% cotton t-shirt, and don't quote me on this, I can't remember because I read this like a month ago. I think they said in their laboratory tests that a 100% cotton t-shirt will block, I think it was 50 to 70% of airborne particles. But they said because of the nature of cotton and your expiration having a lot of water vapor in it, it gets less effective the more water vapor it gets in there. That's why they always have disposable masks, because when you go into like a hospital, granted, they have higher grade masks. They have surgical grade masks. They have different, for whatever they are doing, but they take them off, throw them away. The whole notion that a person is supposed to wear a mask for, you figure even you figure part-time into like factory work. So you figure a person's going to wear that for like 4 hours for their shift, up to a factory worker that's working 12 hours minus, a half hour, an hour for lunch, which obviously they have to take the thing off. Well, if you look at the guidance in the medical field, and I'm sure John's wife could attest to this, they were not intended to be worn for that period of time. And the guidelines that the CDC had given out when this whole thing was, if you were at risk, to wear a mask. And well, you would have to know if you were at risk. And they pretty much said, well, viral infections can wreak havoc on a body that has a weakened immune system. Well, you would know if you had a weakened immune system, so you would be at risk. And then they furthered it saying that on a lesser degree, people of diabetes or diabetics, they are at risk only because of how their body is when they don't get their glycemic response. So that could be, a problem. But they said going into this, that as a blanket statement, anybody over 60, take precautions because the flu that comes every year can kill you. But they said everybody else, it's pretty much you have to take in consideration your own immunity system. If you get colds often, if you get the flu every year, then you might want to be cautious. But one of the things that, and I really haven't had anybody even say anything to me out on the road because I've been through so many states that they have differing rules about face coverings and et cetera. And I've talked to a couple people. And it's also what I said at the beginning here about common sense is it's a viral infection. How do you get viral infections? Well, you get somebody else's fluids in your body. That's pretty much, it's airborne, but it's airborne to the actual microscopic spores or whatever you want to call them in the air. Well, I sort of question that to a degree because if it was that prevalent, everybody would have it. Everybody in the entire planet has it because the air that people have breathed and exhaled in California within weeks, months, is the same air that made it to Brussels, Belgium. They're breathing the same thing. So I think that the whole idea of it being airborne and you can get it. No, you can get, like, if somebody sneezes and you walk into the mist, yeah, you're going to get...
I agree with that.
So, I mean, I'm trying to make sure I don't forget anything. That's why I was kind of jumping around there just so I get everything out. But that's pretty much how I see it. I mean, I've been avoiding the whole Facebook thing because some of my friends, I think a lot of it's just emotionary responses because they have this whole thing where if you're not wearing a mask, you're part of the problem. What problem? Have I coughed on you? Have I sneezed on you? Have I spit on you? I mean, have, any of my bodily fluids gotten onto you? No. And then they have, what is kind of interesting is they're going on this whole thing about mask. masks. Got to wear the mask. Got to wear the mask. Go into a store. Got to wear a mask. Got to wear a mask. No one said anything about gloves. Because there's
that doesn't provide any protection. They've already told us that.
That's what I'm saying. This whole thing, it's like, well, the gloves. It's like, well, you pick up something that has it on here, then you go like this, and then you're infected. Okay, that's pretty much class 101 for passing germs. I mean, you were taught this in first grade, kindergarten. Go wash your hands. Don't touch salad.
Well, they're just trying to back that up 100%.
So, I
sure, go wash your hands.
It's just
like you got to be told like a 2-year-old. You know?
Yeah, I mean it's like adult daycare.
And that's pretty much the way I look at it too.
But to sum it up, and I'll let it back to you. But to sum it up, I'm not really a conspiracy theorist. I've listened to a lot of conspiracy theorists from other drivers, and also before the invent of the satellite radios, I listened to repeats and live broadcasts of Art Bell and George Norrie, who took over for Art Bell, and he's known for having some guests that have some very interesting fish stories, so to speak. And you listen to them with as they say, the grain of salt. Well, with that said, I kind of think, as far as the World Health Organization and our CDC, the City for Disease and Control, and the other UNICEF and other UN, because I think some of the European countries kind of lean on the UN and that they don't really have they may have a regular medical review boards and stuff, but I think they lean on them a little bit more than what we, it's like our equivalent CDC. I think that this was like a test, because like I had mentioned a couple months ago when last time we talked about it in this degree and like I said, I still can't remember when exactly this happened, but it was when we had 9/11 in the United States, where the terrorists flew into the trade towers and into the Pentagon. I can't forget about that. And you can't forget about the people that died in the field over Pennsylvania on the way to the White House, which they were going to fly into. Anyway, excuse me. Trying to remember what I was going to say now. I hate it when my scientists want to decide they want to drain right at the. Oh, I know, the test. I'm thinking that this was like a drill, because we haven't had anything like this since the Spanish flu 100 years ago. And when we had 9/11, there was a rule that was passed for future use that was that the CDC can dictate a ruling that is compensatory to the executive branch, meaning if the CDC says for the better good of the country we need to do this, the president has to do that.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly. One of us should look it up on the internet and try to find it. But it's basically it's not really like a rule, but it's a guidance. It's because of the pandemonium we had when that happened, because we had never had an attack like that in our country. So I'm thinking, and like I said, this may be conspiracy thinking or whatever, but I think that this was sort of a test to see how people would react, because if you're old enough to remember this, and I'm not saying I'm the War of the Worlds broadcast.
Well, Dale, I've said this before, and I'll repeat myself. Doesn't it seem like through the last 40 or 50 years they've actually been trying their hardest to get a make a pandemic like this. I mean, Christ, look at what's happened since even the 60s. You've had the bird flu. You had and the bird flu that was carried by mosquitoes. When this spreads, it's going to be terrible. It's going to be horrible. People are going to die. They had 6 flipping cases of it in 1 year. And come on. I'm thinking this is getting similar to what this pandemic thing is now. Sure, there's a lot of people dying. I won't take and deny that. And sure, we have to take some precautions and stuff like that. But for crying out loud, you're going to ruin the economy by all this? You're going to keep everybody shut down? You're going to take and iron fist the people that are trying to open just to make a living? And for, what are we accomplishing here? Is it working? God knows. What would have happened if we didn't close everything down? That's my whole point here. What actually would have happened if we didn't close these buildings down?
I think we'd be in the same exact spot.
I'm thinking that too, John, and even though I hate to admit that, I think it would be the same.
Honestly, guys, this is all a storm just driven by the media. This world is driven by the American media. Okay, yes, there's foreign medias in every single country, but they all look to the Americans for the real news that's happening in the world. And this media, and I know you're going to laugh at me, Pat, because I'm a Trump supporter, but this whole thing was orchestrated. I wouldn't say orchestrated. Let me change my verbiage here. This whole thing was, I guess they picked up a virus, because obviously the virus is real. Okay, but they picked up what is the verbiage I'm looking for here? You never want to let a crisis go to waste. So they picked up this virus and they ran with it so that they can attack Trump.
Do you know that if this would have been 20 years ago,
and the only way to do that is to kill the economy.
If this would have been 20 years ago with the current social media that we have, they would have done it then. There ain't no doubt in my mind they would have done it then.
What do you mean?
They would. This pandemic, if it would have happened 20 years ago, and we would have, with the bird flu or whatever the hell they called it then, H1N1.
Yeah, swine flu.
If that would have happened back then, it would have with the media that we have now, or with the social stuff that we've got going right now, it would have happened back then. There ain't no doubt in my mind. They were just looking for a way to make this thing happen. And since they had the media and stuff like that, they decided that's what they were going to do.
Absolutely.
Plain and simple.
Well, my whole concern about this too, and you don't hear too much about this because of probably their agenda on the whole matter, is a lot of this information that we were getting was from a communist country that has had a track record for the past 20, 30 years of doing things that were not exactly in people's best interest. And to go back and think about all these things, and I'm sure I'm forgetting things, but if you go back 20, 30 years, of all the things that China has done, let's see. I think they had
China
some dog
is our
food
friend.
that had one of the active ingredients and antifreeze in it. We've had children's toys where if they were to be ingested, they were coated with some type of
lead toys is what you're talking about.
Some type of terrible chemical or something that's going to turn them green and have them grow 5 arms type of thing. If you look at all these things, and also I saw this on a Facebook thing when I was on there, whenever trying to remember the name, like the names that you were talking about, the 3 epidemics, because pandemic is worldwide, but the 3 epidemics that we've had, and I guess the one was, I guess, a pandemic. I guess one of them could be a minor pandemic, but have come from China. And that's just sort of bothered me, because it's a whole thing. You have a country that has a track record for this, and they really can't be trusted. And I'm saying that the government, I'm not talking about the people. It's sort of like the same thing about Europeans. They're joking and they say, "Oh, we love America, we just hate your government." Well, that makes 2 of us.
All right, we did have somebody.
I like my country. I don't like the government either.
We had somebody join us here in the last couple of minutes, and I would like her to step up and give her opinion. My daughter Melanie Yusko is has joined us on Zoom here. Melanie, what's your thoughts?
I think that China created this whole pandemic, and they didn't really want it to come across here. I don't think. I think they were trying to control their population, and it just got out of hand, and it came over.
That's what I've heard too. It was something that was in the Hunan, which was where a lot of the medication that the world uses is manufactured and produced.
Mm-hmm.
And in one of the things I heard was that, and this was quietly squashed by the media, but I heard a report that said that I can't remember if it was Denmark or Sweden, but there were some researchers that got, because of the close proximity of the area, got air flown or whatever samples before this became a pandemic. And they said that they claimed that there was genetic modifiers in there, and it looked like they had tried to sequence it to only people of Asian descent. And the thing that they said that the scientists forgot or didn't take into consideration is it's a living organism, and it mutates, and it learns, and it replicates.
You know, that's good.
And what happens is somebody that has Indochinan heritage has the same genes, and that's how it spread. But you can continue.
You know, it kind of makes me want to take and discuss this with my favorite conspirator, my favorite truth seeker. I won't call her a conspiracy theorist, but my favorite truth seeker, to see if she can dig up anything on this. I'll bet there's all kinds of stuff, especially the population control thing. I would almost bet that that's true. And if so, this thing, the rumor that we had heard of it being in a what the hell? Oh, hi. Hi, Beth.
Hey.
Oh, hi, Beth.
I didn't think you'd be able to stay out.
I'm sorry, I can't serve you Friday. So I don't even have a hairbrush here. Sorry. I'm staying up with my
No problem. You look fine. Anyway, joining us just right there is Miss Beth Roose, our resident book author, children's book author, and #1 seller on Amazon. How many people can you say did that?
I don't know. I still can't believe it. I keep looking to make sure it's still there.
So I would imagine you probably got an opinion of what we were talking about.
The latest thing that I just read before this broadcast was that I guess the Chinese, Germans, and the Norwegians did 50 autopsies each, randomly picked on people who died. And they are saying that it is not a flu, but it came back as DIC, which was disseminated intravascular coagulation, which is an inflammation of cells, which is your lungs, and that the correct thing they should be, what they learned from this, they should be giving is an antiviral, but an anti-inflammatory and clot buster medicine. So, like you can take 3 full aspirin with honey, and that thins your blood. So it's a blood thinner and an anti-inflammatory and an antiviral, and that's what you need to go. And forget the masks, just like the Surgeon General said. Do not mask; they're useless.
Yeah, I have thought that all along myself, especially when it was for 1 minute they were, oh, you got to use a mask. You got to have a mask. There's got to be a mask there. And then all of a sudden it's, well, I'm not sure they're going to do any good. Oh, you got to have an N95 mask if you're going to have anything. And then all of a sudden it's, well, maybe you should just wear a mask out there. And
I truly think China created this to become number one world power. Knew it would spread completely all over the world, and since we rely on them for a lot of manufacturing, they knew that nothing will get manufactured and nothing will be sent over. And they're the ones who also make the disinfectant, like the Lysols and stuff. And so they knew we had no way to make Lysol in a fast manner. So they created this knowing they had the only way to do that.
Yeah, they had they knew it for sure. I couldn't agree more.
Well, you see, China has had a history for at least 30 years of what we were talking before you came on, Beth, was with China has a population problem.
Yes.
And they've known since the 90s into the 80s that they were going to be 1 billion population. They were estimating that they were going to be a 1 billion population country by the early 2000s. And in 98, when the human genome was sequenced, before that, they actually had rules that said that they could only have one child.
Right.
And they had a problem because of the way genetics work. They had an imbalance, and you may know the imbalance was, but I can't remember anymore. But I think they either had too many boys or too many girls. I can't remember which one it was. And they said, well, this is not going to work. So they stopped that. And like I said, in 98, when the genome was sequenced, and they actually figured out what all of our chromosomes do, they started doing gene sequencing. And that, you remember Dolly the sheep.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody doesn't know what Dolly the sheep is, it only lived maybe, a week, a couple weeks or something like that. They basically took cells from a sheep and cloned the sheep. And they proved it by doing a genetic sequencing on blood samples from both animals. And they were completely identical. I mean, human-born twins are not that identical. You can do blood types on two paternal or fraternal twins, and they're going to be different. You may not look different, but they are different. So going forward, they have been working on this. In the conspiracy theory that we were talking about before you called in, Beth, was the idea was they wanted to be able to control the population that way, where they basically have a fertility clinic and say, okay, Mrs. and Mrs. Chin, do you want to have a boy or a girl? Okay, you want to have a girl. Okay, do you want blue eyes? Do you want brown eyes? Do you want hazel eyes? Do you want them to be 5 foot tall, 5'4" tall? Do you want them to be athletic? Do you want them to be smart? I mean, all these things. And I think what happened was a lot of their experiment left the facility.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that did happen, and then the hush trying to cover it up, and then trying to blame it on us. That was the best.
Well, and the other thing is, and this is where I got off of Facebook because what I was saying was making too much sense, and people were just basically wanting to shout me down. I just pretty much unfollowed their conversations and just moved on. But the fact of they're a communist country. I've already prefaced this with all the things that they've done that were not in the best interest of anyone, like putting, the chemical products in antifreeze and dog food and stuff like that, and saying, "Oh, it was a mistake." A mistake?
Yeah.
How do you have antifreeze in a cannery packaging dog food?
Right. Yep.
So, anyways, they have that history, and pretty much they just were sequencing this so that only would affect, like I said, their own people, but it mutated, and with that, it pretty much latched on to other genetic sequences and other, the what do they call that? The Eurasian and European genes. Mm-hmm. And what I'll get to my point here. The thing that kind of just makes me go, and why I don't trust them is the fact that this started in November. Who wasn't notified until the end of December? The World Health Organization, UNICEF, and the UN and the CDC didn't know anything about it until January. And all of a sudden, they pretty much went from like 1 or 2 to, I can't remember the exact amount of people that were infected in China, but they went from like the most interesting bell curve. They went from like nothing up to like thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and then all of a sudden in February, okay, we're all cured, no problem. We're opening the factories up. Have a nice day. And we're like, okay, would you like to share that with us? I mean, how did you go from that to, okay, nothing to see here?
Yeah. Too many coincidences. Like the WHO is in their pocket, and I almost feel like CDC as well, because they own the patents, so they're the ones going to make the money from the vaccines, along with Bill Gates and George Soros. So yeah, I definitely see the whole scenario.
Well, what do you guys think of cutting off the WHO's funding from the United States?
Yay! I couldn't have. Although I wish they would have given the money they were giving to the WHO to us taxpayers. I would have liked that even better.
Yeah, well, you're going to get another $1,200 cut here pretty soon.
Don't work.
Yeah.
So this clearly doesn't work.
Well, I have heard other countries. I'm thinking ours is one of them. I can't remember. Not an official, but I think there are some companies in our country, and they're actually looking to India. They're looking to other parts of Europe, and pretty much as a story that I've heard is because of this, they're going to cut China out. And because I heard And this is only talks that I've heard, and you know how the media is. If something gets out and it sounds too positive or doesn't goes against their agenda, you're never going to hear it again. But they claim that because we already stated that a large percentage of the medication comes out of China.
Yeah.
A lot of the chemicals come out of China. So they are considering putting in place other facilities to cut them out, or at least have another source of these products. And I don't know if that just goes against common wisdom. I don't know if it's just human nature. I mean, as an unrelated side tangent, because I was in IT many years ago, I still listen to a lot of this stuff because I still am interested in it. And I've always was a computer geek. And about the talk of the Jedi contract. I can't remember. It's a joint something defense initiative or whatever. I can't remember what the abbreviation is. It's basically the cloud storage contract for the U.S. government.
Mm-hmm.
And it was between Amazon and Microsoft. And it was $10 billion over 10 years, basically $1 billion a year. And they were going to manage all of the online servers for the government. And the contract was awarded, but Jeffrey Bezos complained about, I'm not going to go into the politics of it, but he complained about something, and basically the United Justice Department said that he had some merit in his complaint, even though he was lost and viewed by the stock market net as a sore loser. And so because of COVID happened, they're not having any courts in session. So this is pretty much tabled until this is all opened back up again. And the representative for the Department of Defense said that regardless of the fact that Microsoft is re-awarded the contract, or we have to rebid and let the best company win, we are not going to do half and half. It's either going to be all Microsoft or all Amazon. And what my reason why I had this side tangent is why I think it's this human nature is, wouldn't you think if you had all of your eggs in one basket is bad? Because what happens if Microsoft's system goes down? And it's gone down. It's gone down many times. Amazon's had outages. So they're going to put everything in one thing. So that's why I'm thinking this whole mentality of depending on one country for everything. I don't know. I'm going to shut up because I talk too much.
No, when Hurricane Katrina went, all of the IV bags that the United States used was all made in Puerto Rico. And when the hurricane, it took out all the factories. They could not get the plastic bags to put the IV fluids in.
Oh yeah,
was that? And so you'd think they would have learned about putting all of your eggs in one basket, one basket being China.
Yeah, but it's time to bring manufacturing home and stop this China crap.
Yeah,
I mean, we rely way too much on cheap stuff. I know even now, I'm getting better at it. I'm more, I guess, cognizant of what I buy. I look at the back and see where it's made. And if I can help it, I'll buy a product made in the USA. A recent one, I remember I bought a tape measure, and I was looking at two of them over at Home Depot or Lowe's or one of those places. And one was made in America, and one was, made in China. The one in America was only like $1 or more. I'm like, why wouldn't I do that? And I just, bought the one that was made in America. So I think people need to be more aware and cognizant of what they're buying and where it's coming from. That's the only way that's ever going to change. It's not like the government saying you have to buy from China. It's people's buying habits. And same would go with those IV bags. You know, the whoever buys those bags to put the fluid in them obviously just buys them from there. You know, they don't care where they're made; they just need the bags. So no one's cognizant of where they're getting their stuff.
Right.
You know, there's something that bothers me. You guys mentioned Bill Gates.
Your audio is modulating.
It's what?
It's bad.
How about that?
So it sounds like you're on single sideband.
Are we going to have you go run that board for Pat?
Dude, I've been saying for I don't know, a year now.
I have some
Something's
inside.
Gotta be done.
I have some
Heads
inside
gotta roll.
Knowledge
Is this
about
any
the
better?
medical, because I used to deliver all that Bebron, and I can't remember the other manufacturer, Baxter, Bebron, Hospira, and I was delivering when that hurricane hit.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew, because I had my paperwork signed by the buyer, because they are responsible for the order. And I would talk to them and about this, and they would tell me about it, and it's also a good way for them to vent because of all the problems that they have. So they were explaining this whole thing to me, and there's only 3 companies in the entire world that make saline, because it's highly regulated. Anything that goes into the human body through an intravenous fashion is highly, highly regulated. And you figure, I'm trying to remember now. I think there's a facility in Virginia. There was one in California, but it got shut down because of contamination or something happened. So that only left Puerto Rico, the place in Virginia. I thought there was 4. I'm sorry, I misspoke. 4. There's one, I'm thinking it was in Germany or somewhere. I'm thinking it was Germany because I think Bebron is the German company. But you have those many for 6 billion people.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And they said that the problem was with the bags, it wasn't just the bags, it was just the infrastructure. Because they could fill the bags, but when you have one airport and it's underwater, how do you get stuff out of the country?
Is this any better? Can you hear me now?
No, you're still like upper sideband now.
I don't know what's causing this.
Yeah, it's very highly modulated. Just can't even understand you.
What if I cut that? Is that any better?
Anyways, guys,
No.
I have to go, but I appreciate the conversation, and I got to put a little kid to bed here. So appreciate the conversation, and as I said earlier, my stance is I think the media wants to keep this coal train moving. You know, they want to keep the economy down. They want to keep the COVID-19 crisis going on through the election to get what they want and the people they want in office. And don't doubt me here. There's a lot of people that are struggling for power now. And it's quite a scary time we live in. So anyways, appreciate the conversation, guys. You have a wonderful night.
Okay, thanks.
Take care, John. Can you hear? Am I any better now?
My son said bye, too.
Is this any better? I can't hear any difference on this.
See that article I sent you?
You
I
had
sent
turned
you
a
and
button
Pat
over
an
there at some
article
point
that about the Senate.
Okay, well,
I
I'm just
think,
saying.
voted that
one point in
they
time,
don't have to track people, or they don't have to have a warrant to track people's like web history anymore. They could just track anybody at any point. They're trying to vote that in. And
is that the? I haven't read it. You sent it on Facebook.
Yeah, I just
I
sent
haven't.
it.
Yeah, I haven't been on there in a little bit. I'll have to get on there when I get a chance. Is that the? They were. It was. I can't remember what it was. It was the 1986 Telecommunications Act, and it was part of it was the internet communications that they had in place, and they reviewed it and decided that they needed to update it for our current world because there was things in there that don't even exist. Stuff that we have now didn't exist, and there's no coverage on it. There's no, any verbiage about it all. Is that what it is, or is this something new that they're doing?
The Senate is voting to allow the FBI to look at your browsing history without a search warrant.
That sounds like it, because this, I can't remember exactly what it's called and what it actually entailed, but the 1996 Communications Act or whatever it was called, it had a very vague control where it was about email, about how they could read email, and I think they had like some really weird rules about it or something where if email was like abandoned or not accessed in like 6 months, that it was considered abandoned or public domain, or however they worded it. And there was some other weird things that were in there, because you have to remember in 1996 the internet was commercialized in 95, so it was basically very poorly worded and legislated because they didn't know how it works. And unfortunately 24 years later, our government still doesn't know how to work, even though we're the ones that invented the internet. But any case, I'm thinking that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, it is, and it actually came short 60 votes because a bunch of Democrats voted against it, including Bernie Sanders.
But that's good.
All right, am I still motorboating?
I'm sure they'll try again, because they're trying to make it so that encryption's illegal.
Am I still motorboating?
Oh, yes.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, they're trying to make I can't remember how they made the distinction. They're making it so that not web encryption, but end-to-end encryption.
Mm-hmm.
They want to make that illegal. And then they backpedal and they said, "Oh no, we don't mind people using it. We just want to be able to have a court order and be able to listen in on it." And these people that know cryptography and everything, they're like, you can't do that. It's end-to-end encryption. And if you try to listen in on it and you're not one of party A or party B, you can't listen to it. And they're not believing them and saying, no, just go ahead and make it so, and don't worry about it. And then, so these other people, these penetration testers that do security testing for networks and et cetera, they were even telling the government, no, this is not possible. And they're like, well, make it possible. And they're like, No, you don't understand how cryptography works. This is math. 1 + 1 is 2. It's always going to be 2, and it doesn't matter what you do. 1 + 1 is always going to be 2.
Anyway, Dale. When it comes to what we were just talking about, isn't that kind of a violation of our, of the Constitution for them to just listen in on us at any point, or spy on us at any point?
Yeah, that's the whole pretense of it. Unlawful search and seizure and the wiretapping laws, and that's why they're trying to do their old. It's because of protecting the children. We have to protect the children from the pedophiles.
Oh, it's always
we don't want
protecting the
pedophiles
children.
taking the children. And it's like, okay, how low do you have to go to further your agenda by saying, oh, it's because of the pedophiles, and the terrorists? Mm-hmm. Well, this just shows you how technologically incompetent our government is.
Mm-hmm.
When they don't realize that in their history of banning things, what happened when they outlawed alcohol?
That didn't go well.
Yeah, we ended up with NASCAR.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point.
All right, let me test this again.
It's like, and the fact of, okay, the only reason why they haven't outlawed guns is because they know what guns can do.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, testing. Can you guys hear me?
Oh, you're back. You're back to the
modulated.
Modulated again.
I don't know what the hell is going on with this.
Is it the interference of Skype and Zoom?
I don't have the Skype. The Skype is not up. I'm getting some way too much audio. Hello, test.
That sounds good.
Hello, testing.
That sounds normal.
Yep.
That's with my microphone turned all the way off. That's her microphone over there.
I'm not even hooked up right now.
Or as Gene Wilder would say from Young Dr. Frankenstein, that's Abby normal.
I don't know what's going on. What's going on?
Nice.
Let me try it.
I mean, it's just sad how inept our government is when it comes to technology. Like, that's why I think they need to get rid of they need to put an age limit on how old somebody can be in the government. Like, Pelosi should have been gone a long time ago. Chuck Schumer, he's close.
Well, it wouldn't necessarily be age limit, because as we get further along, there's going to be less illiteracy because everything's going to be going to computers, and it's pretty much if
they need term limits.
Huh? Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They need just term limits. I mean, I don't want to go into a rant about this, but if you look at the Forbes 100 and the Forbes 400 or whatever the lists that they have, if you look at like the top 25, top 50 people in these lists, they're politicians. Explain to me how a politician makes $60,000 to $200,000 after they're tenured, around 60, 70 when they first start. How, like, Nancy Pelosi has a net worth of like $10 million.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get a net worth being a public servant on a salary of like $200,000 a year?
I think there's some underhanded things going on.
It's like, so I'm thinking, yeah, I think there should be like an age limit to a degree, because they do have an age limit for the presidency. I'm thinking it's term limits and age.
Like, I think Trump is up there. I think both Trump and Biden personally are too old to become president. Like, I think maybe retirement age, it should be, 65 and up. You can't be president or senator or anything like that, or Congress,
Yeah, because I think, what is it? You have to be 35?
Yeah.
To be president.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's pretty much the state of what you're talking about with the also as a side note about the encryption, and they don't realize, like I said, with them outlawing booze and stuff like that, and how well that went, is the fact that you take away the encryption that public citizens can't use it anymore. Well, here's the problem: the cat's already out of the bag. Telegram, WhatsApp, Signal, which is what they're based on, are out there already. Right. So you can make a rule that says you can't use this anymore. When have the terrorists, pedophiles, criminals followed laws?
Never. Exactly your point.
So, I mean, you're going to make this other slate, and then what they don't realize is the phones they use are secured by, was it Fort Meade? It's it's where the NSA is. I can't remember what it is in Maryland. Fort Meade or it's Fort something. I can't remember. My mind's blanking on the name of it. But they encrypt the phones. So, it's like they're thinking that they're not going to be affected. It's like, well, if you put something in there that can be cracked, then everybody is. And and not that I want this to happen, but it would be a good finger pointing exercise to have a couple politicians get hacked because of their own legislation. Mm-hmm. And then have them complain to Kyocera, Motorola, Samsung, saying, well, this is your fault. This is your equipment. You allowed me to get hacked. No, Senator. You wouldn't allow us to put encryption on there so anybody can listen to it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So, yeah. But yeah, it's pretty much the wiretap is what you're talking about. The other thing is the wiretapping laws.
Yeah.
Is they pretty much can tap the phones, and they have to have. That's when they started with the visa courts, saying there's an independent review, but they're all people that you don't know who they are. They're all secretive. They're these people that they go to and say, we want to tap Gotti's phone in his mansion, in his car, his phone. We want to be able to listen to everything he says. Can we do that? It's like, sure, go ahead. Because it's like every time they've gone to the visa courts, nothing's ever been rolled out. It's always been, oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Let me break in here first.
Yep.
Just a quick second. Does that sound all right?
Yeah, it does.
I think
it's not bad. It's a little bit, but
I think something. Let me take him back it up here a little. Does that sound all right?
Well,
well, I mean, we can hear you.
When you talk softly now, we can hear you. If you raise your voice, it modulates.
All right, let me.
I'm getting out of here. I'm going to eat dinner.
All right, kiddo.
Love you.
Have a good evening. Love you too. All right. I sound okay though now. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still here.
I sound okay.
Yeah.
I've got the mic amplifier turned all the way off. Audio. I don't understand this. I think what's happened, I got a funny feeling this stinking Windows has done another update, and it's screwed this sound card up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with Microsoft, all things are possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the one thing, not to get too political, because that's not what this show is for. The one thing that I think needs to happen, we need more non-politicians, but, to come into office or president. I hate when people say, oh, well, Trump's the president, so he's not a non-politician. That's not true. He's still not a politician. He's a businessman.
Yeah.
Just because you're president doesn't mean you're a politician.
I've been saying that for over 20 years, that we already shown that 244 years of lawyers running the country isn't always working out real well.
No. Well, then again, in Ohio, look at prior to Governor DeWine, when Kasich was in office, they had a lawyer running the state health department. You never knew who they were, but now that DeWine's in and they have Amy Acton, now she has, when it comes to medical, by law, she has more power than Mike DeWine.
Amy's over.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's ridiculous that I get she's a medical professional, but still she shouldn't have as much power. And also, she worked for the Obama campaign back in 2008. Yeah, 2008. So, I mean, communist, maybe. But anyway, the whole non-politician thing, I think we're better off with a business person running this country than a politician who they're only out for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. 'Cause like I said, I've said that for over 20 years, and some of my friends just don't think that's ridiculous, and now they're all heads exploding because Trump is in office. And I said, well, what does a CEO do? You have profit and loss. You have shareholders. You've got presidents of companies.
Mm-hmm.
You have political, what's what I was thinking of? Foreign, what do you call that? Foreign relations.
Yeah, foreign.
Let me try something.
If you're an international, corporation, obviously.
Yep.
Well, a lot of CEOs have those qualifications. Well, if you compare them to a president, what does a president need to be able to do? Okay.
All that and above that.
Yeah, you have profit and loss. You have import, export, the gross domestic product.
Let me try to break in here for a second.
Okay.
Did my audio improve there?
Yes.
It's pretty much about 95% normal.
I figured out what that... I boosted the damn volume on this thing, thinking I was be able to get more volume out of the board. That sounds all right now, though?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're about 100% now. I mean, normal.
All right, let me crank that just a little bit there. Audio, hello test. What I boosted the Skype or the Zoom volume up, and that's what caused all that issue. Let me shut these headphones off here.
But just to finish the thought, it's pretty much you have governors, you have presidents of companies. So, I mean, it's a perfect fit. I mean,
exactly.
I can't speak for Donald, for Mr. Trump, but honestly, I could say that if you were to ask him, since he's been in office now for a while, and ask him this point blank, Mr. Trump, how would you compare being president to being a CEO of a multinational, global corporation? Honestly, I would think he would say it's the same.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Within matter. I mean, look at the way he handled misconduct and stuff in the FBI and some of the other people that he's fired. It's the same thing in the corporate world. You don't go. You don't go.
He's exposed a lot of corruption.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we've known our country's corrupt for a while, but we didn't know how corrupt. Well, I just heard a couple of days ago that the old FBI director Comey might be going to jail.
Don't bet on that.
And the reason why he, not to be political, but I wouldn't say he's the perfect president, or the perfect person to be president, but he was the perfect person to be in there because he really has nothing to lose.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't bet on him going to jail.
He's got billions of dollars.
That would almost be like Trump going to jail. It's not going to happen.
Oh, yeah, for the guy, for him, no. I mean, all it's going to take is a pardon, either from, it would obviously be Trump because he doesn't like him, but all it's going to take is a pardon from another president or basically the media getting bored and forgetting about it. But he has nothing to lose. I mean, he's pretty much the perfect person. He's pretty much like the CEO that they bring in to do all the dirty work. And then he is replaced by the permanent CEO so that he does all the head chopping because he doesn't have any loyalty to anybody. He doesn't know the presidents of the company. He doesn't know all these department heads. He just pretty much prunes the thing down the way he sees fit. Well, that's the same thing of Trump. Trump had no friends in politics, even though people say he's had buddies. He did things to better himself and his corporation. Mm-hmm. That's what all
but the thing of it is, Dale,
CEOs do. So he was like, when he came into our government and exposed the corruption, he was like, okay, you did this. Everybody's saying you shouldn't have done this, so you're out.
The thing of it is, with Trump, when you take an office like that, you're supposed to do. There's a concern that you're going to take and you're going to have you're going to have a conflict of interest there because of what your presidential powers and everything do as far as the other goes, as far as interrupting your presidency. And for them to take and most of these guys, when they get in office, pretty much do what they get away from what they're not supposed to do. Trump is still in control of his company. You would never, ever convince me that he isn't.
Well, on paper, I'm thinking it was, I can't remember. It was either Kitchener or his daughter on paper has control of his company on paper. But yeah, I agree, Pat, but it's also, there's no way that you can even enforce that or even police that, because it's just, I don't want to say it's human nature, but it's pretty much like all the allegations of what was it, Bush 42 with Halliburton. He divested all of his stock and left the advisory board of that, but he still has the knowledge of it. It's not like it's the Men in Black where they got the neuralizer and you're no longer a Men in Black, so we're just going to go, okay, you're a delivery driver and your wife's a supermodel and you love life and
well, there's
more to charities.
There's more to Donald Trump than
now,
you'd ever believe.
If anyone's seen Men in Black, that's the neuralizer thing.
There's more to Donald Trump than you'd believe, because
I've read a lot about him. I know
his wife.
I know a lot about him through his biography, biographies, and just.
All right, just to make sure, my audio's correct now. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
What about me? Am I okay?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Good. I can sleep tonight now.
I hated the fact that I was going to have to play with all this crap tomorrow because I got.
Well, if you look at European politicians and chancellors and presidents of countries in Europe, this is normal. People in Europe, I've talked to people, drivers that have come over here and that have been in the country for, X number of years. They have told me, this is, when Trump first got in office, and this one guy was from France, and I talked to him in the restaurant, and he was telling me about the International Monetary Fund, the IMF chairman, Dominique Strauss-Kahn, and some of their parliamentary people in the French government. He said they were so corrupt that it made our mafia look like choir boys. As pure as fallen snow. And they said that everybody's complaining about Trump being in office and conflict of interest and all this stuff. And he's like, well, that's what we've had in Europe for the past couple hundred years. I mean, you talk to a person from Romania and ask them about their elections. Sure, they have an election where you go out and vote, but it's basically who has the most money gets in office.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I would like to see the former HP, I think it was, CEO, Carly Fiorina.
Yeah, Carly Fiorina. I don't like her because she's the reason why I got laid off.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. But, I mean, I would like to see her maybe as a, as maybe a governor. Maybe.
Well, I have nothing against her. I guess it's more of, it's kind of a snide, sarcastic comment because she was one of the first female big, CEOs. Yeah. And it's kind of unfortunate for her because she came in during the HP Compaq merger when I was working at Compaq. And Mark Hurd basically, I don't know what the backdoor discussions were, but he agreed to step down and let her become the CEO of both companies. And then about a year, I think it was like a year later, maybe 18 months later, I can't remember. If you actually look it up on the internet of the largest corporate layoffs in U.S. history, the Compaq HP acquisition was, I think, the largest in U.S. history. And why I say it's an unfortunate for her was the fact that our customer base, speaking as a Compaq employee, didn't like HP equipment as far as servers go. And they pretty much, HP, their sort of attitude was, we're the 800-pound gorilla, and we're just going to go in and take these old Compaq ProLiants off your hand and give us these good HP net servers. And a lot of our customers are like, you take our ProLiants away, and we're going to not renew our contracts. And guess what happened? They didn't renew their contracts. And they had like 25,000 people laid off in a matter of like a month.
Kind of sounds like a pandemic.
Yeah. But yeah, that's why I got laid off in the second round. So, but as far as her abilities, I don't want to say anything. I just sort of tongue in cheek say I don't, because she was the CEO and
yeah.
When got laid off. But as far as her abilities, I have nothing really against her. I mean, other than that.
I had really wanted to talk about a couple other things tonight, but we got waylaid here because of this audio issue. I had planned on talking about hacking kids.
Kid hackers.
Children hackers.
Oh, script kiddies.
But what ended up happening here is I bumped a audio level, and that's why I got so distorted. Once I shut that back down again, it fixed it. But not making excuses, just telling the truth. I guess we'll just save that topic for next week. Yeah. I have quite a bit. I want you guys to hear about that. There's, I've even got the 11 things you need to know, or if you see these 11 signs, your kid's probably a hacker.
So. I'm sorry.
Isn't it sort of like that John Ritter show, but that Kaylee Cuoco, who played Penny on Big Bang Theory later? Was it 8 Simple Rules for My Teenage Daughter? 8
Simple Rules for dating my teenage daughter, yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Oh, my.
Yeah, here, it's like... That's sort of, it sounds like, Pat, that's sort of back when I can't remember the name of the high school in Columbine. That sort of sounds like the thing that they had with the Columbine shootings, where they said, it was in the media, they said, well, if your son or daughter plays video games, hangs out in groups, wears dark clothing, they might want to shoot up your high school.
Yeah, that's.
Let me fill you in on a couple of these. These are really kind of funny.
It's like, really? It's like, yeah, if you find the game's Doom, Duke Nukem.
11 signs your kid is hacking and what to do about it. Number 1. Actually, number 11, I think, starts it. They flat out tell you and brag about it, how easy it is to hack.
Well, kids are that dumb, so I wouldn't be surprised.
They seem to know a little bit too much about you.
Yeah.
Their technical secrecy is off the charts. We're going to cover these next week. I'll give everybody kind of a preview of it.
Oh, yeah. That's fine.
They have multiple accounts you can't access. You find hacking tools on their computer. Dale, do you have any hacking tools?
No.
You overhear them using hacking terms. Number 7 is your internet provider tells you to stop hacking.
Oh, shoot.
Their close computer friends have all been investigated.
Yeah,
that would tend to make me believe that.
Yeah.
That would be a clear giveaway.
They consistently switch to the boss screen when you walk into the room.
The boss screen.
Your monitor tools never show any activity, or your monitoring tools never show any activity. And the number 11, failing grades suddenly improved to top scores.
Oh. Well, I guess we ain't worried about Lexi hacking or anything.
Yeah,
well, Pat, you remember that I could probably tell the story again next weekend that will dovetail into this, but you remember my story about the FBI visiting.
Oh, yeah.
That's what was coming to my mind when he started talking about that.
And that's probably what your parents were looking for.
I was thinking, oh my God, that's Dale.
Did your parents write that article, Dale?
Oh, I'll have to tell that story next weekend.
Yeah, we'll go into.
I don't think Eric's ever heard that, so I don't want to tell it now.
No, I haven't.
Okay, you'll have to wait next week, and I'll tell it.
Okay.
That was classic. I mean, I'm not going to do any spoilers, but I'm just saying that shows how much love and adoration a mother and father can have for a child. Would you agree, Pat?
Yeah, I would agree 100% with that, Dale.
Yeah, I guess the way you described that. Yeah.
But you'll like the story, Eric. It's
okay.
It's so funny. I mean, it was funny even back then, because this was, and I won't say anything more about it, but this was back. Oh, I can't remember the actual specific year. I know The Edge of Insanity was running, so that had to have been anywhere between 92 and 99. And
did Dave Kanyan join us?
We got double Daves.
Double Daves?
Hey, Dave Kanyan. Wow. Good evening, sir.
Ooh.
Dave, you there?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, not too bad. Good to see you. I hear you. How you doing?
Yeah. No, good. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just, I saw the post. I said, let me see what these guys got going on today. I already just got off. I got off of one Zoom meeting. I said, all right, let me see what you guys got going on. I see you're conducting business or something. I don't want to interrupt.
No, it's not really that. We're just sitting around BSing about Ohio and the reopening laws and all kinds of stuff like that. And then we moved into a little bit of computer hacking. We're going to talk about that next week. I've had audio issues here for about the last half hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah, I didn't want to say nothing, but you sound horrible.
Oh, thanks.
Not horrible, like just like staticky horrible. Like, trebly horrible. Is that what you meant?
Yeah, that's what it was doing, yeah.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have said anything. I feel bad now.
Oh, thanks, Dave.
But everybody else sounds good, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe try to.
Hey, Dale.
Hello.
I don't think you two
Is
have
Dale
met,
in a
have you?
bunker or in a truck? Are you in a truck, Dale?
Yeah, he's in a truck.
Yeah, let me turn on. I've got a LED
Oh,
light.
yeah, look at that.
This is Dale. This is Dave Kanyan. Dave, this is Dale. He's
oh, yeah. Wow.
He's an over-the-road truck driver.
That's right. Yeah, Dale and I didn't meet when I was on the show that one time.
Yeah, this is my company's 2020 T680.
Very nice. Look at you. Doing a show, broadcasting from the sleeper. Great. Where are you, Dale?
I am in. Oh, let me look at my weather app because I can't.
Truck stop somewhere.
Woodhaven, Michigan.
Oh, all right.
Not too far
Sounds
away.
fascinating, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's about 10 miles south of Detroit.
Wow, good for you. Good for you. All right, there you go. Got Wi-Fi? Using the Wi-Fi from the truck stop, or
No, actually,
you got your own?
I got Verizon's mobile data, and
Gotcha.
because
Gotcha.
of the pandemic, they are giving all their customers, like, I can't remember what it is, 10 or 20 extra gigabytes. So
Very nice. Very nice. All right.
Never
All right.
guess
Hey,
who
Eric,
I
how you
talked
doing?
to.
Good. How about you?
All right, not bad, not bad. All right.
Never
So who's William, Pat?
That's me. That's my that's my alter ego.
Yeah, I kind of
Okay,
wondered that
sounds
too.
good.
I got that set up so when I'm playing bits and that, I can actually talk to these guys when without interrupting the feed. So I just go on the other account.
Gotcha.
They never guess who called me yesterday. How about Hal?
You're asking me?
Yeah, how about Hal Cohen?
Hal in Philly.
Yep, Hal
Hal
in
in
Philly.
Philly calling you.
He says, I hope I'm not
Can you
interrupting
imagine
anything.
what he wants?
I said,
Yeah,
well,
right.
I had asked him if I could. I want to play his song on my station. I love that tune you use. And
Isn't that nice?
that drive song, I love that thing.
Yeah. Going for a drive. I just did a podcast because I play it at the top of every show. I just finally added cowbell. I mean, if you listen to the last episode, I finally added cowbell to it.
Oh,
so it's really great
But
I was able to do that.
I had
You
Facebooked him about using the song, and he ended up calling me. He says he's got to try to figure out how to monetize it a little bit first, and once he does,
Yeah.
before he starts distributing it, which is fine.
Yeah, I told him the way to monetize it, you got to go find John Bon Jovi, let him sing it, and then you'll monetize it. Let him do it because it's a great song.
Yeah.
So, but until he does that, it's going to be a struggle because it's tough. It's tough for an independent guy to make money and do your own thing. It's really hard.
Exactly.
Very, very hard. Yeah. But good. I hope it works out because he should make $1 million from that song. I'm sure Eric and Dale probably haven't heard the song, but it's a great song. It's really a great song. It's a lot of fun. It's a simple little song, right?
Yep, that's exactly right. The
All right.
other thing I was thinking of when we talked the last time, you said something about maybe doing a one-on-one with me. I have an opportunity to do that. We'll have to use Zoom here, but
yeah,
I'm doing
absolutely.
I've got. I don't know if you saw it or not, but on Spreaker, I'm carrying a thing called One-on-One with Pat. And
Yeah.
I'd kind of like to get you for half an hour and do that. I got a couple lined up in front of you. I just got to get around to doing them. But I'd like to.
Right.
If you're up for it, I'd kind of like to do it. I'll Facebook.
Absolutely.
That'd be
Absolutely.
great.
Send me a note. That'd be great.
How's work and everything going?
Let's do it. Hey, I'm busy. I'm doing the 5 days a week. Got the overtime. I can't believe it, but I'm still doing overtime. I'm waiting for them to tell me, no, stay home. But every Wednesday, they bring me in, and I go, really?
Yeah.
I kind of say yes to overtime, thinking that they're going to say no. And then when they say yes, I go, oh, well, I guess I'm committed. Now I guess I got to go, But I kind of don't want to go. I want to stay home. I got things to do. I got podcasts. I'm not doing any of my stuff.
Yeah.
But I need the money, so what do? I'm a slave to the dollar. I'm a slave to the podcast.
I hear
Guess who
you.
wins?
I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm the same way. It took me 65 years to become essential.
So anyway, listen, I feel like I hijacked your show here.
No problem, Dave. I'm glad you called. I'm glad you come in.
If
you ever see the
Dave,
Zoom room, come on in.
You go into the boroughs?
Yes, actually, I do go into Queens, New York, and the Bronx, and am I ever in Manhattan? Yes, I'm actually. When I go across the George Washington Bridge, I'm actually in Manhattan for just a short amount of time. I think. Yeah, I think that's like Harlem. That's northern Harlem, and then boom, before you know it, I'm in the Bronx. When you cross the East River, you're in the Bronx, and then I cross the Throgs Neck Bridge, and then I'm in Queens. So, but I've done Brooklyn, and I've done, Staten Island. Yes, I have done all the 5 boroughs. But with this job, this company, just basically, the tip of Manhattan. But I'm on I-95. I'm not on the city streets. And then I go to, the Bronx, still 95, and then the LIE, the Long Island Expressway, Queens and all that. So. Yeah, you?
Yeah, the company I was with, 5 years ago, probably been. We went into Bayshore, Hauppauge, Central Islip, Astoria. White, was it White's? Oh, I can't remember. It's White Plains?
Yep, White Plains, Westchester, sure.
Yeah, up there. Yeah, because I remember it was a funny thing on up there just on the north side of the Bronx. He was right off of the Tappan Zee. The place we had to back into was inside the building. But it wasn't hard to get into. You just had to back in from the
underground.
No, this one actually was above ground.
Okay.
This one,
a Target?
Huh?
Was it a Target?
Yeah, it was a Target. And what was funny is they had a city ordinance where trucks couldn't park on the street even though if we were waiting for deliveries. So NYPD, we would and they had like a set time for deliveries. And basically it was almost like, have you ever seen on air traffic control where what they do, and people don't realize this until you actually watch some documentaries and that, exactly how they stage and land aircraft is basically they go and start and then they just go in a long spiral and spiral and spiral until they land. So basically they start up at 10, 20,000 feet and start spiraling down before it's their turn to come into land. And that's basically what they had to do with us and they only had, I think it was 3 times a week. I can't remember. This was 8, 10 years ago. They would actually have us going around the block. And they basically would come out, stop the, come out and wave, point to your truck, and you would pull over, and all the trucks would go by you. And then you would then back into the dock, and they had it set so you didn't have to worry about cars cutting you off and all that. And it wasn't a hard thing to back into, I mean, all things considered. But it was just funny It was just like a holding pattern.
Yeah, circling the tower, or something like that, right?
Yeah, it was just like driving around in the circle because they had a city ordinance that said, "Oh, trucks can't park."
Yeah,
Park
we
in
can't
city.
park, but we can burn fuel
But we can drive around for like 20 minutes waiting for another truck to get unloaded.
It's amazing they couldn't have you park somewhere. Just park, and they'll call you when we need you. Come on in. Just, you can park out there on 287 or somewhere. I can't.
Yeah.
It's amazing that they waste all that energy.
Oh yeah,
doing all that.
yeah. There's so many trucks. I haven't been out there, but there's so many trucks to park on the 287 that you might as well just make that a truck stop.
Absolutely. It's really crazy. There's so many stories that we could do. And like I said, I don't want to hijack your show here, Pat. But there's so many stories that I'm sure Dale has probably already shared with you. You just go on and on. We really could just do it. I'm sure there already is a trucking show somewhere where they talk about all the idiotic things that they make us do and all the ridiculous rules and regulations. And it's unnecessary.
Do either of you have any good Walmart stories?
Oh, yeah. That's what I was just going to say. Walmart.
Yeah.
I don't know how they became as big as they are with the amount of mismanagement they have.
Dude, I used to work there.
Oh, really?
I just quit like 3-4 days ago. So I know.
Yeah, some of them have a policy where, and it's not. I don't know if it's just certain DCs, but there's certain like certain distribution centers become DCs.
Yeah.
There's certain ones where I understand the reasoning behind it, but on paper it looks good, but in reality it isn't good. Like in Lugoff, South Carolina, they had a policy, and I think there was a couple other ones, but I don't want to ramble on. The one in Lugoff, South Carolina, you couldn't be 15 minutes early or 15 minutes late. And I was there 20 minutes early. And they're like, "Oh, we can't take you. We'll let you through a gate, but you're going to have to do a U-turn." And I'm like, "I'm 5 minutes." So what I did is they had a long, long driveway leading up to the checking gate. And I mean, it was probably 8-10 truck lengths at least long. So I do the UE, and there's a big turnout because the road is like a 2-lane road that you're coming off on, and the city or county or whoever maintains it made a large turnout area for us to do a turn to get back on the road, because if not, we're going to be going 5-8 feet into the grass. So they did that. So I basically busted another UE, and at this time I got an automatic truck now, but I've driven a couple of them over the years. But at that time, I had a 13-speed. I just put the thing in low gear, and it was almost like that Monty Python scene where you see the guy charging the castle.
Right.
And they keep cutting to him, and he's getting closer. He's getting closer. I pretty much put it in granny gear and just sat there creeping forward. And nobody was behind me. I wouldn't have done it if another driver was behind me because I didn't want to be a jerk. But nobody was behind me. And I was doing like 2-3 miles an hour creeping towards their guard shack. And I'm not sure if you can see my video, but you can?
Yes.
Okay, so basically, I'm just sitting there. I'm just have my arm on my armrest like this, and I'm just not even holding the steering wheel because it's just going straight. And I finally, I'm like sitting there like this. I'm not even holding the steering wheel, and I'm like this, and I'm just like going along. I got there 5 minutes before my time. The lady apparently she had to go out for her break, but it's funny. She comes out of the guard shack, and I'm still like 2 truck lengths away, and she's standing here like this, like, and I'm just like,
right.
And so I get there, I pop my brakes, shut the truck off. I get out of the truck, and she looks at me, and she's like this is, and she's like, seriously? I said,
right.
You told me not to be more than 15 minutes early. And
right.
Then, golf cart shows up. She looks over her shoulder. Guy gets off the golf cart. He's got his, briefcase, like lunchbox thing. Whatever, snack stuff. He comes around the corner. She looks at him and she says, he's your problem now.
Yeah.
She gets on the golf cart, drives away. And she's like, and he's like, I don't know if I want to ask. And I told him, I had never seen another person laugh so hard in my entire life.
Wow.
He's like,
wow.
I wish I could have saw that. He said, I've been here 20 years. I've never seen anything like that.
Right. That's a great story. I bet you there's millions of stories like that all across the country. Just these idiotic stories, Walmart stories, Target stories, all these different DCs and all these different states and cities, all these ordinances, just so ridiculous, so anti-truck, anti-economy, and just anti-brain, just really anti-brain. I bet you Walmart wasn't as bad where it was, just Sam Walton. But once they got into the kids and the family and they got into this computer automation and they got really big, like super big, once, everybody realized what was going on, that these wasn't just a bunch of hillbillies from Bentonville, Arkansas. Because I read the book. I read Sam Walton's biography and, autobiography, whatever you want to call it, the story of Sam Walton. And it's they just snuck in under the radar because nobody gave him any credit. Just a couple of dummies from Bentonville, Arkansas. He says it in the book. They would go with Manhattan. They would go to the Garden. They go all of it. Nobody gave them any credit. And before you know it, they're huge. But then I think
the biggest retailer in the world.
Yeah.
Because that was the same thing.
Most incompetent. Well, I mean, I have stories that I could probably tell you from mismanagement that I experienced, there. But, we don't have time today because I know we're way over the show.
Yeah.
So
I'm
not going to tell them yet. But
they didn't give him any credit because he was from Arkansas and people just looked down on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great book. I'm not a book reader. I totally don't read books. But once I started reading it, I couldn't stop because it was just, wow. It's amazing what he did and, how he overtook Ben Franklin stores and so many stores. He just went right past them because nobody gave him any credit. They're like, yeah, this is not going to work. Nobody, they're just from Bentonville. Who comes from Bentonville, Arkansas and does well? But they did. And it's a great story. And I should read the book again because it's pretty inspiring because I like to think people are probably looking at me going, what does this guy know? Dave Kanyan from Brooklyn, New York, truck driver. He can't podcast. Listen to him talk. He could barely speak English.
He does a hell of a podcast.
So I'm hoping to sneak by a lot of people and work my way up the ladder there. So, thanks to astute people like Pat Morrow, he's giving me a chance to be on Crooked River Radio on Monday. So, he's the smart one, not me. I'm just a dupe in this whole process.
I'll tell you,
Thank
Dave,
you, Pat.
I haven't missed, I don't think more than since I started carrying you. I don't think I've missed one of your shows. I've heard.
Oh wow!
I've listened to all of them, and I think.
Well, thank you.
Your perspective on what your mom's passing and that was pretty touching. My condolences to you, sir. But they were hell of a shows.
Thank you, Pat. I appreciate that. It's great to hear you say that live because I got to tell you, there was a moment where I was dreading, like, man, this is going on I can't get out of this topic. I got to finish this up. I got to dot the I's, cross the T's, and we got to put a bow on this thing. So I think the last episode was pretty much it. Whatever 223. I don't remember what number it is, but the last one is. I did all the listeners' comments and all that other stuff. So, I'm done. It's time to move on. Time to get back to Trump and Biden and the Corona and my life and truck driving and all that good stuff. You know,
are they opening up the cities or anything around you yet, or no?
What was that?
Are they opening anything up where you're at now, or?
It seems like it. It seems like my wife. I got home yesterday from work, after 5 days in a row, and I took a nap, and then we went for a walk this morning, but we've been doing that every week. We just find some deserted area and we walk. But it seems like everything's loosening up. Listen, they're giving the impression that we're going to start easing up. The administration, which is fine. Whatever they want to do, I'm not going to stop it. It's springtime. I live in a touristy rural area, kind of a rural area. People love to come up here from the city. I'm 100 miles north of New York City, so it's going to happen. They're going to come up here, and people are they're going to do what they want to do. They're going to hike, they're going to bike, they're going to jog, they're going to antique shop. We have a big horse show. That's where my wife and I walk. This thing called
You're up
Hits.
in the Adirondacks.
Yeah, no, we're south of the Adirondacks.
Oh,
that's
south?
like above Albany. We're in the Catskills.
Oh, that's what I meant.
That's
what I meant. I couldn't think of the word.
Yeah, so it's easing up. It's easing up, and I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's bad, but the economy could definitely use it up here because we rely on tourism. So this horse show is opening up, and my wife and I walk through the property because it's open. You're allowed to walk through there, and you can see them. They're setting up the jumps. They're putting down the fresh soil. There's a whole process to doing this horse show that they got going there. And it's called Horses in the Sun, HITS, HITS. And they start, I think, in May or June. Well, it's May now. So they probably start in June. I never go. That's very highfalutin for me. I don't do horses. I do horsepower, but I don't do horses. So I just, finished watching the NASCAR race today, first one of the year. So it looks like things are coming around for as far as people and businesses opening. And, I wanted to go to Five Below the other day, and I didn't realize it was closed. So Five Below hasn't reopened for some reason.
Yeah.
But some restaurants with the takeout, with the curbside, the convenience stores are open. The quick checks. We have a thing called Stewart's. So, you can get gas, you can get candy bars, you can get Slim Jims. Very important to me that I maintain my Slim Jim diet, even though I'm a Fat Dave. That's how I get to be Fat Dave. I eat too many Slim Jims.
Are they going to be opening up the city?
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I really don't know.
8 million people being turned loose all at once.
Yeah, that's a scary proposition. I bet you today, because they can't help themselves, it's springtime. It's just beautiful weather we had. They're going to walk out their door. They're going to sit on it's just a little creep, like, like an animal in the woods or whatever. It's like a little bit, one step, like that Ninja Cat video. Remember Ninja Cat, Ninja Kitten?
Oh, yeah.
Anybody remember that? Yeah, a little bit at a time. Not when anybody's looking at me, but when they're not looking at me, I take a couple of steps. Listen, the smell of pizza is going to be in the air any day now in New York City. The smell of Chinese food, all those restaurants, it's inevitable. The people are going to push, and they're going to...
Would you trust Chinese food now after all this, though?
Actually, the true story is, I want to say no, but I forgot what day, but the day that they started the quarantine, I said to somebody at my job, they said, "You going home?" I said, "I'm going home." I said, "What are you going to do today?" I said, "I'll tell you what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to eat Chinese food." And wouldn't you know it, my wife called me like 5 minutes after. She said, "Hey, Kyle and my son, Kyle and I are making a list. I'm going to go to Chinese, and pick it up." I go, "Are you kidding me? Did you hear what I was just talking to somebody saying I'm not going to eat Chinese food, and you called me 5 minutes later saying you're going to go pick it up." Do you know my wife, in the 30 years we've been married, has never called me to say, "Hey, I'm on my way to getting Chinese food. What do you want?" She's never called me to say that. We usually make that decision together.
That story, because I listened to the episode where you talked about that.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's right. Did I? I did a podcast with that. Yeah, so that's true. It really happened. And when I ended up having spare ribs and pork fried rice like I always do, and I'm like, why am I doing this? Why this doesn't? And of course, she felt like I was being racist or whatever I was being. I was being overly cautious and all that. But by the way, I think that Chinese restaurant has in fact closed. I'm not really sure. I think they have in fact. I'm pretty sure that. I don't know. We stopped by a couple of weeks, I think, after, and because she was hankering for more, and I think they were closed. So there goes that. So the answer to your question is no. I didn't want to trust him. I didn't want to, but I'm still alive. But I have an iron constitution. My wife was always saying, "Hey, don't eat that. I'm throwing it out." I go, "Nah, I'm going to put it in the microwave. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it." You put it in the microwave, it kills everything. So I can't tell you how much food over the last 20 years my wife was just about to throw out. I said, "No, don't worry. Give it to me. I'll put it in the microwave. It'll be fine." I'm a truck driver. You kidding me?
Oh, yeah.
I can eat anything. Dale knows.
Yeah. Yeah, a co-host of one of the podcasts I listen to, she lives, I don't know specifically, they said that she is near Grand Central.
Yeah.
And she always talks about going down to Rattle and Hum to drink some beer. And she hasn't been able to do that because Rattle and Hum has been closed. But the reason why I was asking you is because I was listening to their podcast today while driving, and she was saying that she had lived, I can't remember how long she said she's lived in that part of Midtown, but she's like, it really creeps me out at night because you don't hear anything. There's low traffic. You don't hear the whoosh of the subway cars going by because she said you don't realize how they built New York City is the air exchange system goes underground for all these buildings. So a lot of the buildings are common, and there are what they call the blowholes for the subway to bring in air and exhaust air, because you have a train going that fast through a hole, the air has to go somewhere. And she says, you don't hear any of this. She's like, wow. She said a couple podcasts ago, she was saying that she actually heard somebody, and she's like, because it echoes because of all the high skyscrapers. And I can't remember what floor she said she was on. I think she said that she's like 7 or 8 stories up or something. But she says one night it was so quiet that she actually could hear somebody singing walking down the sidewalk. And it was going in through the air shafts and stuff. But she said generally you don't have that. You normally just hear white noise constantly being down there, all the traffic. And she says you hear every little thing and she said it's just not normal for her.
I can imagine
that's
something
fascinating.
like that. As far as there's 2 places in the world in this country that I just wonder what it would be like to be there for something like this, and that's New York is one of them. The other one's Vegas. I could not ever imagine Vegas not having 16,000 people on the street, no matter what time of the day or night it is, down there on the Strip.
Vegas not having traffic. I mean, I can't imagine the boroughs not having traffic, because they would occasionally, in my first load coming out of the house, because I lived in Ohio, I'm close, in which I don't miss anymore, is what they would usually have me do is pick up a load somewhere near Youngstown and take it to Long Island, to any of those, Hauppauge or Central Islip, etc. And invariably, they would always, I'd say, 9 times out of 10, they're going to send me to Elizabeth, New Jersey, or they're going to send me up to Connecticut. But it's like 40 miles from like Bayshore to Elizabeth. The quickest I ever drove there was 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
So I can't even imagine there, because I think they said there's still traffic, but I can't remember exactly what the percentage was. But they said that it was down like 30 or 40%. I can't remember the exact percentage, but I can't even imagine that even, because you can go into the boroughs at midnight and there's still, it's like Chicago. I mean, there's as much traffic going through Chicago at 2 a.m. as there is going through Akron at rush hour.
Wow.
That's great.
Anyway,
That's great.
I hate to wrap this up. Dave, you're always welcome here. If you ever see the link in Facebook there, feel free to join us.
Thank you, Pat. I appreciate
you're part
it.
Of the
We'll do that
family,
one-on-one thing, and I didn't mean to come and hijack your deal here. So I'll leave first. I'll let you guys do your thing. Pat, nice to see you and talk to you. Give me a call. We'll do something. Dale and Eric and Pat, is your wife there? I thought I saw her there somewhere,
she's
right?
here. Flora, you want to say hello
right?
a second? She's over at the other computer. Hang on.
Okay.
But while she's getting over here, Dave, there's a place in that I've always wanted Dale to go to so we could do an interview. Dale, you want to tell him where?
Oh, if you ever want to get away from the beautiful Catskills and New York region, you need to go to Uranus.
Uranus,
Missouri is an unincorporated burg just south of Rolla, Missouri, about the 169 yardstick on I-44.
I've always told him if he ever goes through there, he's got to stop. I don't care what time of the day or night it is. We're going to do an interview from there.
From Uranus.
Yeah.
You can throw axes in Uranus. You can shoot guns in Uranus.
Wow.
And you can also buy and eat fudge that was packed in Uranus.
Wow. That sounds like a tourism dream.
And they ship nationwide. You can sit in your home in the Catskills and eat fudge from Uranus.
Right. Did you say they ship it? They ship it.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure what you said. It sounded like you said ship it.
Yeah, they ship your fudge.
Okay. All right. Well, just
like the Kmart commercial from 5-7 years ago is like, we're going to ship your pants. We're gonna
Right.
ship your drawers.
Right. Well, that's good. That's fantastic. You definitely want to.
Aren't you glad you called, Dave?
Oh, my Lord. We just couldn't have made it a night without talking about that. Could we? Oh, Lord.
Leave it to the men.
See what I have to deal with here.
Well, Dave, they had a newspaper. Would you want to guess what the name of their newspaper was?
Uranus droppings? I have no idea. The droppings. What?
The Uranus Examiner.
That's great. That's great. Do they do deep? Do they go deep dives? They really,
I've actually
they
got
have
that bit.
probing stories.
Probing stories, right.
Please don't
For
play
Flo.
it tonight. Oh, dear God.
Dave, I'll play it on the way
her
out.
head deep in her hand there. She's like, please. I feel so bad for her. This poor woman.
Yeah.
Deep dives. That's great. Probing stories. That's
Oh,
good.
my
All right.
Lord. Well, you guys, hey, I'm going to say a quick hi and bye to everybody in here. Eric, you all, thank you for joining us this evening and putting up with the board operator. And,
Yeah.
I think you're trying to fire me.
We're going to button this up. We're going to button up this conversation.
well, I'm going to go back over to my other computer, but anyway, or my computer. Anyway,
Right, good night,
I've had
everybody.
enough of this
I'm
talk
gonna
about
take off.
Uranus.
Take care, Eric. Take care, everybody. Nice to talk to you. Thanks for sharing.
I wasn't kicking you out of here. I'm just leaving.
What you said earlier, Dale, should be a promo for the city. That you can they make it, they ship it, the chocolate thing, or fudge.
Oh, Lord. All right. On that note, I am done. So you all have a wonderful week, and we'll talk to you next time.
Yeah, we ship it, we pack it, we eat it.
All right,
Wow.
you guys all have a great week. We will see you next Sunday. Dave, like I said, if you ever get a chance, come on back in. I usually post that Zoom thing in Facebook
Right.
whenever we're on here. So
You got it.
come on
You guys,
back
hey,
in.
thanks.
We appreciate
Thanks
you
for.
coming.
I appreciate everybody listening, and
Plug your show
subscribing,
quick.
liking, whatever, sharing. I appreciate all that. Thanks for paying attention. That's
Plug your
great.
show quick.
I appreciate that. All right, guys.
Plug your show quick.
Take care.
Plug your show quick.
What was that? Oh, plug it?
Plug your show quick, yeah.
Oh, come on. That's craziness. Dumbing it down with Dave. Everybody know. I appreciate it. Dumbing it down with Dave on Spreaker on 29 platforms now. God knows where you can find it on iTunes and Spotify. Dumbing it down with Dave. Go to the website, davekanyan.com, dumbingitdownwithdave.com. Thank you, Pat. That's really nice of you.
Not a problem.
It's unnecessary.
Have a good evening.
Listen to it on Crooked River Radio, for God's sakes, on Mondays.
Yeah, 8 o'clock
at
Monday
8
night.
p.m.
Yeah, have a good night.
Okay, take care, guys.
Night.
Thanks, Dave. All right, with that, we'll go ahead and wrap things up for the evening. I hope you all had a good time, and a production of Crooked River Media.